Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another brunch, breakfast, lunch, dinner hour with Jose and myself. How's everybody doing? Jose, how are you this
Pretty
nice
good, pretty good.
morning?
I mean, I don't know. Every time we start off the show, I get hungry. So, I don't know if we just keep talking about food intro because I have not eaten anything so far, but it's pretty early here. But yeah, good morning, Neo, and good morning to all the viewers watching. I can see Akmal, Ramu, the I Love, Herculano on my side, and I'm pretty sure there's many, many more on your side, Neo, that maybe you want to say good morning to. So don't be rude.
Okay, then I have to say good morning to everyone here. Thank you for joining us. Apparently, yeah, there is a 25 basis point cut from the ECB, the European Central Bank. They've cut already rates for the eighth time this year. And what does Jerome Powell do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. No rate cuts, nada.
Angry
So
tweet incoming.
yeah, all caps.
Yeah.
Um, good morning to Lisa as well. Lisa is here. Not Lisa Su, the better Lisa.
The better Lisa, yeah. Appreciate the better Lisa. Good morning, Lisa.
So today we wanted to touch a little bit on a couple of things, right? We have Broadcom reporting after hours. We've had some Coreweave and Nebius figures. Interesting data that we can maybe talk about. Then maybe AMD has their AI event next week, so maybe we can touch on that a little bit because tomorrow we will not be live. So the next time we will be live is probably next week before the events, and then I touch a little bit on PayPal because I do think that this thing is just positioning itself to explode more recently. Allez, in the near future, hopefully. So we can talk about all of that in this next hour and a half. And then, of course, we'll have the market open, which maybe, I don't know if Jose wants to talk about that as well right now or not. We might have maybe a schedule change depending on what everybody wants.
Wait, I thought we said we weren't, Neil.
No, I thought we said we would.
We would? All right, I forgot what we did, but whatever you said, I feel like I said yes to, so I trust you, Neil. And
No, because
did I
you
get a
said we might.
haircut? hold on. Sorry. This one caught my attention. I have to answer. No, no, I did not get a haircut. I need to get one. My barber probably hasn't seen me for a while.
We need to
But
check if he's
sorry, Neil.
still there.
I just lost that train of thought. So what did we say we were gonna do again?
You said we might start earlier.
Hey, this is a partnership. We gotta say we. We can't let anybody watching make it seem like I'm the real boss around here. Okay.
There is no I in we. So yeah, we might start earlier. And maybe end the show when the market opens, so everybody has time to go watch their favorite streamer. Because we know that the market open is highly competitive. Plenty of other channels do the market open as well, but it's also probably the best hour for everyone. Because previously we did lunchtime hour. I don't know if everybody's interested in listening to stocks when they have lunch. So
yeah,
we'll stay with the market open. We might just start a little bit earlier.
Yeah. I definitely, it's still in the works, but would love to hear comments and suggestions from the viewers. And people are just going on. So I haven't had a haircut since ChatGPT launched. That would be insane. My wife would kill me. So I think I have had one since then.
Maybe
I think this is where we got to start. Someone wants to get rid of PayPal for the news, and then we can kind of go into everything else that we have in today's episode.
Yeah, now first up, it's the Nintendo Switch 2 is coming out today. Actually,
launched last night, wasn't it? Last midnight.
Probably last night, but yeah, last night. Today is the date. If you pre-ordered it, you're probably getting it right now. If you want to go wait outside the store, it's probably today. The day I tried, I didn't want to order it. I tried to order it, I couldn't, and maybe I said now it's the sign of someone above saying you don't need it, so I didn't order anything.
You don't need it. We need to do these streams. That's all you need to do. Yeah. No fun and games. No fun and games.
If we can do the streams while playing Mario Kart, that's good. Imagine we invite Jensen. Imagine we invite Jensen, you want to play Mario Kart while we discuss Nvidia's future? Wouldn't that be something? Yeah. Anyways, PayPal. Yeah, maybe we can just get rid of the PayPal. Get rid of the PayPal topic. So PayPal, I'll just show you what the stock has done this year, which is not much. Is not much. So PayPal this year is of course down because we ended last year much better. We started the year very, very well. So let me just pull up this. Voila. So
voila.
We were much higher at the start of the year, right? We were in the 90s, in the $90 for PayPal, and even in the 90s. This is just my opinion, of course. I know plenty of people think that this is trash, that company hasn't done anything, blah blah blah. But if you look at the data, which you can see on my channel time and time again, because I keep talking about this PayPal thing for a while, there are more people using PayPal today than there were a couple of years ago. The company is still growing, believe it or not, might not be growing as fast as before, and that's probably why we are seeing this come down. Plus, okay, the market did pull back as well, but revenue growth is decelerating as they are more focused on margin, and margins are becoming better and better, which is good. Better margins, more profitability, more free cash flow. They can just buy back more shares and maybe do some strategic acquisitions if they really need to. Now, even today, what is it today? $72. $72 is extremely undervalued. If you do a reverse DCF, I think the market is really still pricing in this company as if it will not grow, but it is growing. Not only is it growing, it's buying back $6 billion worth of share each and every year. And just for the record, this is a company worth $7 billion. So a bit less than 10% of the company is being acquired each and every year. So there were a couple of announcements from Alex Chris. So maybe I'll share that as well. Let me zoom in. So yesterday, oh yeah, this is not bad. Yesterday, Alex Chris, the CEO, tweeted out, I like to tell everyone that PayPal has one of the best APIs for developers, but you don't have to take my word for it. You can take the word of Postman, the API award. So best API here, Meta, PayPal, X, Salesforce, and Zendesk are at the top. The top new APIs are API layer Uber. I don't know what this one is. UPS, never in a million years would I have expected UPS to pop up here. And then
Yeah.
Google Google Maps. So PayPal here, best API, making moves. Then we've seen them talk a little bit more about Venmo. Venmo, since Alex Chris has come in, he has made it quite clear that well, Venmo is being under monetized by quite a lot. Like this thing has tens of millions of users, but they're not being monetized. They're not just not being monetized correctly. The focus has been on Venmo more recently. And yeah, in this promotional video, you have these two actors from the latest season of White Lotus. I don't know if anyone has watched that, but so we got Will Ferrell for PayPal Everything or PayPal Everywhere, sorry, and now we've got these two actors here from White Lotus. I think Venmo's growth is going to be quite something. Then yesterday, I already talked a little bit about this. They're launching a new physical card, and yes, this is a Mastercard card. They also announced that they launched the PayPal mobile wallet with in-store tap to pay and buy now pay later in Germany. Germany, huge market for PayPal and just a huge market overall. And they already crossed 1 million signups just at the start, which is pretty good. I also did bookmark something, not the Nebius stuff, but this. So Alex Chris, the CEO, and this is again talking about Venmo here. He said that they're on track for over $2 billion of Venmo revenue by 2027. Venmo is growing. We have a monetization strategy that is well received and actually driving growth. We grew 20% Venmo last quarter to over 20%. So I know I might sound like a broken record, but don't sleep on PayPal. In a market where we keep talking about, oh, there might not be any interesting opportunities out there, although we can list a couple, right? We've listed the Googles, the AMDs. I list SoFi, I list PayPal. You probably list a couple of others as well. There are still some names that are, yes, very undervalued, in my opinion. Of course, you might say, oh, opportunity cost, this and that. But opportunity cost, you can say this after the fact, right? You say this now, PayPal opportunity cost, because, oh, what if I had bought Robinhood? Yes, if you had bought Robinhood, you would have done much better. But at that time, you didn't know about the opportunity.
Yeah.
Plus, maybe 1, 2, 3 years from now, PayPal is a triple digit stock. Would you say opportunity cost? No, you would probably comfortably beat the market. So the goal here is always to beat the market, not to beat any other stock, because you will always find stocks that probably perform better. But your goal is just to beat the market. And I think I'll beat the market with PayPal. We've talked about this at the start of this show 2 months or so ago, right? If we hold the stock and it doesn't do anything for a year or 2 or 3, but in year 4, it suddenly beats the market, not just for that year 4, but for the last 4 years, we shouldn't care, right? We shouldn't care that we suddenly, oh, we had 3 years of nothing, but our fourth year does better than the last 4 years combined. I think we will still be happy with that performance. I did.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, you have one more point, Neil? Sorry.
Yeah, just want to touch on this. I feel more people use Cash App than Venmo. This is factually incorrect because
I've never seen anybody use Cash App,
Cash App did
but I don't
not
know if I'm just
grow.
too old now.
No. Cash App, you can look at Block's earnings report. They did not grow. It's been at 57, I think, monthly actives for a year now. Venmo has more than that and growing. So data-wise, PayPal, Venmo are doing much better than what people think. Now you go.
Now I go. No, Neil, first, a few things. I mean, I think it's important to just kind of a general investment mindset that can go very well in life as well. It's like, don't try to compare your results to anybody's at the moment, because there's always someone doing it better at that moment. But in the long term of things, maybe your results or your overall thesis will play out the better results, right? So it's good to try to live in the now. I don't even know where I'm trying to go, but it's just don't compare yourself with others, right? Because anything can change, and something might look a little bit more exciting right now, but your thesis can still be pretty strongly, pretty good in the future. I mean, I'm pretty sure most people did not like Nvidia in 2018, 2019, 2020, right? And now you see everybody kind of talking about it. And same with everything, with so many different markets and stocks out there. We do have some questions, Neil. Let's see if we can take some questions before I look into. I think AMD is what I want to maybe start off with.
Hmm.
But this is we're getting a lot of questions today. We do have Broadcom earnings. So Avgo rally so crazy. Too much optimism. Time to take some profits. So I don't know if you can pull up Broadcom real quick, Neil. I think we did hit all-time highs. Um, Yep, we did. For right before earnings. Normally, Neil, I mean, in the short term of things, normally I don't like to see a massive rally right before earnings, just because I think how much of it has been priced in. That's the question, right? And I think that's what Kumar wants to know, if there's too much optimism. I mean, at the end of the day, it all depends on what they give for guidance and what kind of what's this guy's CEO, Hawk, what's his
Hawk
name? Yeah,
10, not Hawk 2,
Hawk 10.
Hawk 10.
I
Yeah.
was about to. That's why I stopped, Neil. Thank you for saving me. Um, yeah, it's all going to be dependent on what he says. If he kind of talks a little bit more about that total addressable market that he gave last quarter or the quarter before, which was north of $50 billion within the next few years. I think it was even closer to 80 billion on just like 3 customers. If he comes out and says, look, I'm actually more confident right now that we actually have 4 customers this time, that I feel very confident for this total addressable market, I'm upping it to $100 billion, right? If there is some kind of strong address in there from that, I do believe the rally can continue for Broadcom. I'm not a Broadcom shareholder. I think this one's going to be very, very closely moved, or the stocks are going to move very closely like an Nvidia, more or less. Obviously, since the bottom, this one has kind of outperformed. I think Nvidia. I think the other one, Nvidia, still has yet to reach all-time highs. But yeah, I mean, I think there's bullish long term. I think in the short term, it's all going to depend on earnings, and with earnings, there's so much uncertainty that unless you're an insider, you can't know what's going to happen. But if there is a lot more talks about that total addressable market that they hit, and which if they add another customer into that list, because they have a lot of customers, Neil, right? They have, I think they have like about 6-7 customers that they're working with to make ASIC solutions, but they feel really comfortable with 3. With these 3, they feel extremely comfortable that they're going to go very easily into volume production, so they're only adding those 3. Now if they start to feel more comfortable with another one or another 2, I do believe the stock can see some amazing things. The other thing, Neo, is they just released the Tomahawk 6 chip, which is a chip that is used for kind of networking switches, and it does show some amazing specs. So there might be some questions coming out of that as well. So overall, a bright future in the long term, I think, for Broadcom, as long as they keep winning contracts with these players. But the ASIC market always comes with risk, right? There's always competitors there. So at the moment, I mean, I'm not owning any shares, but short term, I think maybe a little optimism, unless earnings are completely blow out the waters earnings.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I mean, we did talk a couple of times um, about the fact that the stock just ran up too fast because the market is just expecting a lot of things from Broadcom before they actually happened. But now I guess expectations are, of course, even higher
Mm-hmm.
for them. So any bit of disappointment, I guess the stock will get hit. We've seen that with CrowdStrike as well. Good report, stock went down because again it just ran up too fast and it's too expensive. Remains to be seen. Hoktan has been one of the best CEOs out there, especially in the industry, acquisition wise and execution wise. They've done very, very well.
Yeah. And Broadcom, Martin, Broadcom earnings are after hours today. So it's gonna be yeah, it's gonna be one I think I might be following tonight. So stay tuned. Maybe both Neo and I might do a video on our channels respectively on it. Just because they're most likely going to talk about the TPUs, the AI market, and maybe some new customers, which can definitely excite the whole AI space. And obviously, anything that goes through here can translate to a company like Micron Technologies, to a TSMC, to other types of players in the semiconductor ecosystem, because obviously they kind of just design the chips, then you need all those other components. So they might also give us some insight of where the market might be heading, and just another great research and data point, Neil. So here, Martin, I like this question. What do you think happens to Nvidia if Broadcom fails to deliver showcase ASICs aren't as good as Nvidia? I think this, Martin, is more worrisome for Broadcom than it is bullish for Nvidia. I think right now, Neil, the market really expects Nvidia to continue to be number one. And we're going to see, Neil, in the benchmarks that came out yesterday, there's some interesting things that I really enjoy that maybe might not seem like a big deal, but to me, it's a big deal. And actually, let me pull it up, Neil. Let me do a quick screen share. Let me just go to MLPerf. Hopefully, it's not too boring. So let me share screen, and you're all the way up here, Neil. There you go. All right. So for those that are not familiar, every so often, every few months, there's a kind of benchmark. And the great thing about benchmarks, is this is the one time that we can kind of see actual numbers and results. Because when a company produces their product and kind of does like their own showcase, they can play around with the numbers, right? They might showcase the worst of something and the best of something and make things look a little bit different than they actually are. These benchmarks are public and it's an industry standard. So the numbers that you're getting are going to should be in theory respectable for every type of player. So yesterday, what we did see is the two benchmarks that are really important, Neil, are every so often you kind of get an inference benchmark. So obviously for inference workloads, the one that happened yesterday was a training benchmark, which is obviously one that deals with training. And let's pull it up here. So hopefully y'all can see it, but the great thing about this benchmark is you can kind of see the accelerators that were put on this benchmark, and you see AMD. First thing, AMD, this was the first time, Neil, that AMD showed up and did this training benchmark. These benchmarks have been going on for almost 2 years, probably longer. As long as ChatGPT has been a thing, these have been very popular. And since then, AMD hasn't done any. And to me, that was always like, why? But it's we do know that AMD was trying to develop software and everything else, and kind of trying to perfect its craft. I think now finally doing it, it's kind of AMD maybe management feeling a lot more confident about its products. So that what's there. And caveats with that, Neil. But we also see Nvidia has their Blackwell GPUs, the H100, the H200s, and some of the other products. Another one that actually submitted here, Neil, was the TPU. This was Google's. This is Google's ASIC solution. Before I kind of look at those Google solutions within these benchmarks, Neil, there's like different types of AI models that are kind of fine-tuned a little bit. So it's not like you're training the whole thing. You're training like a sub-segment, because if not, the training will take days, multiple days. Here you do like a small section of it, of fine-tuning, which can only take like a few minutes or a few hours. So it's a lot more efficient to be able to do it for this benchmark, but there's a lot. So the first thing, Neil, is Nvidia does it for all of them. They are the best in all of them. They don't skip a beat. They do every single benchmark. AMD, they showed up for the first time, which is pretty good, but they only did one out of everything. To me, that tells me that, hey, look, AMD is still maybe not as confident as they do. The only one that they did, Neil, was the Llama 2 70 billion. There is the Llama 3 405 billion, but they only did the Llama 2 70 billion. A few things to remember, right, Neil, is they do have that partnership with Meta Platforms. So that could have helped them kind of really optimize for that model. and one of the reasons that maybe they decided to do that model only. But I want to kind of jump in here really quick. The other thing is the TPU, Google's ASIC solution, only did one model as well, and that was the Stable Diffusion. Now, what I wanted to showcase here, and here, if you, it might look like a lot of nonsense. In theory, what you want, Neil, is the lowest time is the best. So the the best of the best is the Nvidia, which did it in about 1 minute with 512 accelerators. Now, what I wanted to showcase is the TPU, Neil. So the TPU for this kind of benchmark, 256 TPUs were used, and they did it in about 4.4 minutes. Nvidia actually did it in roughly the same amount of time with only 32 GPUs. So imagine a world right now, Neo, where you are power constrained, where you have to make sure you're not spending too much money on cables, on optics, on whatever type of networking switch and everything else. Would you rather set up I was talking about it yesterday in my videos. Like, let's say you're gonna make you have this massive party and you're gonna cook a lot of burgers. And let's say to cook all these burgers, you can either do it with 256 grills or can you cook it with 32 grills? Now, with 32 grills, you only need to worry about with 32 propane tanks. You only need to worry about worrying about like maybe 32 tools for each tool, opposed to 256 grills, where your cost is going to be even higher because you need to have more propane tanks, you need to have more other tools for kind of dealing with these many equipment. So I think that kind of right here showcases the massive growth and the massive strength of Google versus of Nvidia versus all its overall competitors. So I did a full breakdown in my channel yesterday, Neil, but I think these benchmarks are pretty cool to see where the leaders are right now, and Nvidia is definitely the leader in this space by far.
I did have a question because there were different. One uses that software, the other one is on-prem, the other one is cloud. How big of a difference does that make, right? Because
Yeah, I think usually, Neil, not much of a difference. I think if you're gonna look at the numbers, they're usually like less than 1 percentage points away from each other most of the time. So I don't think that's usually I look for on cloud versus on prem. But I don't think you can go wrong. I think most people just do on cloud on cloud submissions.
okay, no, because there was, I think the one that you showed was the Google one is on cloud, the other one was on prem. The software was different, and I think the Google one used AMD's Epic, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so for the TPUs, it does seem I never figured what the TPUs were connected on the CPU side, but yeah, they are connected with the EPYC side. Obviously, NVIDIA's GB200 is connected with their ARM Neoverse V2. And in forms of on-prem, they were both using the same kind of. That was the only difference here. Was Google's was on cloud and one was on-prem. But I'm pretty sure we could find an on-cloud one later on.
Thank you for that. What do you want to touch on AMD? No, there was a question about AMD or not?
Yeah. So was there an AMD question? I'm
Or
not
maybe not.
sure
I
what
don't
was the
know.
question. But yeah, I mean AMD though, Neil, for it to show up finally, I thought it was really good. I do think that was a nice bullish indication for the thing, and I always get it in my channel when I try to be nice to AMD, it means I'm being mean to Nvidia. That's not the case. I do believe Nvidia is going to continue to dominate, but AMD pushing forward into this is definitely a great something as an investor you want to see. Now we are in one model. Next, I want to see more models coming out of them. Into it, but they did Neil, if you go look to the presentation, their MI325 was actually better than the H200, and the MI300 was actually better than the H100, which is really good, except Nvidia already mentioned that 70% of its revenue is coming from the Blackwell platform. So I was hoping to get the MI350, Neil. Sometimes they actually even show products that haven't come out yet. They can show a product that is expected to be released within the next 6 months or so. They're allowed to do that. So I was hoping to see maybe the MI350 to maybe have some comparison against the B200 at least.
Yeah, and I mean that's maybe one of the topics as well that they have to talk about next week, because they have the keynote, they have the some of their partners that will come on and talk about how AMD is performing, how they are doing better today, the performance wise. Broadcom, the ecosystem there as well. So I guess maybe they do not want to release a lot of info that they might just show us during that big event. Because imagine they just tell us everything today, and what's the point of having an event next week? Just takes
Yeah,
away
yeah,
all the hype, I guess.
yeah. That's what I'm hoping, Neil. I'm hoping we get like an unfortunate because it's no longer going to be officially in the benchmark. You have to take it with kind of like a grain of salt, because the only true way you can validate it is if it goes through that benchmark. Um, but they could show theoretical numbers that they would have gotten on that benchmark, which I think is good. And I also think this is going to be true with Stevie. I think we're getting more discussions on AMD that they are more confident on other models. And actually, Neil, maybe that's the other thing, right? We know that they're used very strongly in Llama. Because of Meta. So they wanted to showcase that. But during maybe the AI event, they're going to showcase us that, look, we actually had the other models tested, but we wanted to kind of not only share the MI350, but also share those other models during the AI event. So there is some hope there. And Stevie, I do believe we will see more models and better performance with the MI350 and the MI400, as AMD has really said that they're getting that traction and they're moving that Broadcom platform into a lot more models. So maybe they're just saving the hype, Neil, for the event.
I mean, I hope so, right? Because they've been hyping it a little bit more than usually. So hopefully we get something out of that event, and AMD could make its way back over the $120, which is surprisingly where the 200-day moving average is. So on a technical and magic line basis, could be bullish. Could be bullish.
You sorcerer.
Could be bullish. And then if we keep it like that, we are gaining 2 new members of the channel, because Ariel will have to pay up if he's going to lose that bet. Sorry, not if, when he loses
When?
that bet. Exacto
Let's
mundo.
see some other comments. I have a position with Broadcom that's up 30%. Semiconductors have done pretty well this quarter. Earnings should be at least decent. Yeah, I feel, Neil, like the semiconductor market was pretty boring for the past year or so. I think we kind of saw a lot of excitement in AI, and a lot of these stocks kind of peaked. I know one of the biggest complaints for like Nvidia is like, yo, this stock hasn't really moved for like the past 8 months or so. But I think recently we're starting to get a lot more traction in a lot of these stocks as they. I feel like last quarter or the quarter before, a lot of them kind of fell a nice amount. I mean, Qualcomm, Marvell, Nvidia, and prior to kind of like the trade talks issues, but like you started to see some negative action. I feel like now we're going to the opposite. We're getting a little bit more bullish in the market, which is kind of driving a nice sentiment to the semiconductor industry, which I believe will continue to outperform the market in the long term of things.
Agreed. Agreed.
And I think this is what we were talking about, Neo. I think Renato made a great point. If you are not looking to liquidate your stocks now, you don't need them to be up all the time. Agree, Renato. I prefer my stocks drop or stay flat in the near future so we can add. I think, Renato, right? That's what you meant. So I like when stocks stay low so we can continue add, but be up in 5 to 10 years. Agree, Renato. Any money that I think, Neil, both you and I put in our portfolios, we don't need anytime soon. And it's worked out really, really well. And I think that's super crucial, Neo, because when you know you don't need that money anytime soon, you can take super advantage of downturns, and you don't really have to worry too much. And I think that's when the best money is made.
I agree. I agree. I'm just reading that. I prefer my stocks drop or stay flat in the near future, but be up in 5 to 10 years. Um, I mean, I prefer my stocks to continue to go up and up and up to infinity, but I get it. I get it. We did have some macro data. So initial jobless claims came in at 247,000. So this is a softening in the labor market, still not broken or anything like it, but it's been the highest in a long while, I think. The expected number was 235,000, and that's the highest since October 2024. So hopefully this is another message to Jerome to maybe start cutting before you wait until everything's broken.
Yeah, unfortunately, Neil, I don't have too much to share with that portion there. I don't follow the rates or cuts too much. I'm just too worried about if my chips are going to be advanced or not. And Vinvin actually mentioned something pretty cool, Neil, here. AMD acquires a few AI companies. This was pretty interesting for sure. I mean, yesterday we saw them make another acquisition with, it was a very small software company, Neil, and I think this is what we're going to continue to see with AMD. So, I mean, obviously the big acquisition that they made was CT. I think when that came out a year ago, I really do believe it was one of the best acquisitions they've done in a while. So I'm pretty excited about that one. A lot of these small acquisitions that they're making are just to kind of increase their Broadcom and software stack solutions. So I think it's a good move. None of these acquisitions that they're making, in my opinion, are like that revolutionary CT acquisition, and they're not going to do much to the balance sheet. These are probably a lot of small buys just to get talent. Same with other AI companies. Nvidia is doing a lot of small acquisitions here and there, buying very small AI companies.
I'm trying to find the Brium to strengthen open source AI software and deepen its developer ecosystem. Okay, cute.
Then this one, Neil. So, General, do you guys think Nebius is a better company than Coreweave? Coreweave has mountain of debt. I don't get the hype. It's just a low afloat casino. You know what, Neil?
Exactly.
I think that's definitely playing out for the over. Let me just say, a better company and a better valuations are two different things. I think, and maybe this is one where we maybe not see complete eye to eye. I think we both, on the overall thesis, believe that the AI infrastructure market is growing, and players like Nebius or Coreweave can win from this overall demand. So the overall thesis, top line thesis, can be pretty much be used on both companies. I do think Coreweave is a bubble right now, and I do think the low float is one of the issues. Like I mentioned during the IPO process, they did not sell a lot of the positions because it was a bad IPO front. I do believe, Neil, we are gonna start to see Coreweave sell some of its do more market offerings. One of the first flags that got me into this is yesterday they did announce a new strategic finance operator, somebody else, right? So it's like to me, it's like an upgraded CFO. I'm like, you already have a CFO doing. So this person is just focusing on financing, getting more money in forms of debt or whatever kind of structures you want to do. I do think with the current prices, it makes it makes absolutely no sense for them not to do it at the market offering to build up and be able to pay that out. Now, valuations, I think I'm not happy with Coreweave. That's why I am dollar cost averaging out, so selling out during kind of each little rallies that we see here and there. One of the things that really got me into Coreweave, Neil, is having the best product as quickly as possible, and a massive amount of it is very crucial in this age of AI infrastructure. What I mean by that is anybody buying H100s and H200s at this moment is not going to do well because the H200 and H100 pricings are pretty much very, very low. So you're not going to make your money. The best money, unfortunately, on AI infrastructure is if you're able to put up a GB200, a GB300, a Rubin as soon as possible before any competitor. You're able to lock in a long-term contract really quickly at very high margins. And that overall makes that GPU super, super profitable in those long-term contracts. Coreweave, from what I'm seeing, has a really strong relationship with Nvidia and is one to really get some of those chips, not first than anybody, but definitely it seems to be on top of the line. I don't follow Nebius too much, but from what I've seen, I know Coreweave is definitely on top of the list. And from the press releases, they were one of the first to kind of announce the GB200 NVL72 system to be up and running on their cloud. That again is super crucial. I don't care if 2-3 months later somebody else comes out with a GP200. They already locked in their contract because they were the only ones or the first ones to kind of have it. And I think for this AI infrastructure market, it's really a pricing game. And if you're the first at it, you're going to be able to do it. The second thing for me, Neo, that really got me excited, and it's seen as a bearish case for CoreWeave, is they have, and this is why I don't like it, right? I think, again, I'm going to say it just for anybody that missed it. I'm not buying at these levels. I think there is kind of a little would be a little bit too hopeful. There's somewhat of a bubble happening with CoreWeave here, in my opinion. The other thing is they do have massive customers. That could be seen as a bearish case, as if Microsoft, whatever, leaves. But I actually enjoy it for that reason. I like this AI infrastructure. I think the ones that are going to continue to invest in this AI infrastructure market are definitely going to be the top leaders. Those small companies, those are risky. What if they go under? What if they stop developing as quickly? What if their competitors are doing better? There's a lot more risk, in my opinion, with the smaller players than the bigger players. Now you also have the concentration risk and all these companies developing and building their own AI infrastructure. But to me, I just enjoy CoreWeave for maybe some of the reasons that may be looked as a bearish case. But again, I don't follow Nebius too much to not say that it doesn't have those same modes. But from what I've seen, I feel like CoreWeave might have an edge on those modes that I've seen.
I want to add David's question here to this whole CoreWeave, Nebius, and maybe the others as well, because here he asks, how do you value Nebius, probably CoreWeave as well here, with no forward PE data? First of all, you don't value businesses based on pricing metrics. These are pricing metrics. PEs are pricing metrics. Those are not valuations. Plus, if you want to use metrics, there are other metrics you can use, right? For a CoreWeave and a Nebius, maybe you can use ARR, for example, because revenue and ARR are different things in their current state. So you can look at that. You can put a multiple there that's respectable. Not like you can make every stock work if you really want it, right? You can put 100x multiple on whatever, and it will look cheap. But it doesn't work like that, right? You have to look at maybe the industry average. And then if you look at the industry average, you pick a couple of companies and you're looking at how fast they're growing. If they're growing slower than a Nebius and a CoreWeave, then maybe a Nebius and a CoreWeave deserves a high multiple than the others. And that's how you make your way towards, well, the price that you're willing to pay. Now, the difference also with a Nebius and a CoreWeave is that Nebius owns other companies inside of Nebius. Of course, their core business is the cloud one, which is very comparable to a CoreWeave, but it has 100% of Avride. Avride is an autonomous vehicle company that's expected to launch hundreds of, well, this year already, I think 100 autonomous vehicles, starting also in Austin. How much could that be worth? Could that be worth billions of dollars? Maybe, because we know Waymo is launching, Tesla is launching, other companies are probably launching as well. So there's definitely a lot of hype around autonomous vehicles that could help with the valuation of Avride in case they maybe want to either spin it off or maybe raise money specifically for that company. So that could help Nebius' overall valuation of the business. Nebius also has 28% stake in ClickHouse. ClickHouse, more recently, there was a report that said that they're going to raise money at a valuation of around $6 billion. Now, Nebius today is worth $10 billion. So 28 of $6 billion, that's what? Let's take it $3 billion. Also, I guess, not $2 billion, sorry. Not bad, right? When you add that, again, to this whole Nebius story, then you have Triple Ten and Toloka. How much are those things worth? So to Nebius, you're buying the Nebius group. You're buying the Nebius company that owns a couple of businesses. Of course, 2/3 of the business right now is still the cloud infrastructure business. But that's not to say that the other ones can't be worth billions of dollars in the future and might even get billions of dollars valuation if they were to raise money specifically for those businesses. And that's why I chose Nebius, although I would have loved to take CoreWeave as well when it was much lower and be up 200 and 300% or so. But that's what makes Nebius very compelling to me. Small market cap, plenty of businesses opportunities that could grow a lot in the future. And of course, the core one being the cloud, having a lot of traction, having, of course, that Nvidia connection, let's say, but also the European connection. I think that that gave me the push towards Nebius. But of course, I mean, if you went with Coreweave, you are definitely crushing it.
Yeah, and Neil, I really like that. I mean, I didn't know that about Nebius, and I can see that optionality with all those kind of autonomous vehicle solutions. So I maybe I should look in this one a little bit more. The reason is like when I was looking into investing in general, originally when this stock was low, is the only thing in my mind, Neil, only thing I cared about was Jensen keeps talking about AI factories. Who is the one that I think Jensen will gladly and not only gladly work with to kind of build these AI factories, but who is willing enough to take this vision of AI factories and kind of really push it with them? And from what I looked at, it seemed like CoreWeave was that perfect option to go with that. Just pure AI factories and kind of the pure partnership with Nvidia and CoreWeave in it. So I think maybe if I was looking for somebody who actually had more optionalities and had like better some other business models, I maybe would have looked a little bit more into Nebius because, like you mentioned, that autonomous vehicle. I didn't know they were launching in Austin. You said Austin, Neil.
Yes.
So yeah, that's pretty impressive. So again, it also depends on just like the full thesis that you want, where you're looking to make that investment into. Now, Neil, what I am worried though is we did kind of get a price target increase here for Nebius. And like I mentioned, I think there is a bubble happening with CoreWeave. I don't know when the bubble. The tricky thing about calling it a bubble is people think it's bearish. I don't know. I don't know if I would consider it completely bearish because a bubble can keep inflating and inflating for a long time. You never know when it's gonna pop. So I'm not saying the bubble is popping right now. I'm just saying it's a bubble. It's inflated. The thing that worries me, Neil, is I wonder if now other analysts are kind of anchoring Nebius to like kind of the returns that CoreWeave is having, and it's kind of creating kind of like another bubble per se, right? Like if CoreWeave can get to these price points and see these valuations, why can't Nebius get into it? And I think now we're going to start to see kind of maybe that complete bullish sentiment come out here for Nebius and a lot of these other companies right now and kind of create this overall sector bubble in this kind of AI infrastructure play, especially for these neo clouds, where back then it was limited to one character. I think because of the excitement of that one character is going to create the AI bubble for the whole sector within that market, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it completely makes sense. That's why I don't like to chase, even though these are good companies. I just don't like to chase a stock when it's up already 100% or so in a matter of a week, unless it is reflected
A
in the
week, even if
financials.
it's a month, a few months, I would consider, I would be scared,
Yeah,
right?
no, of
Yeah, it's
course.
like it's wild.
But again, unless it is reflected in the financials, like unless they suddenly grew 80%, 100% quarter over quarter, and it makes sense, right? For example, there was a question about Applied Digital, that $7 billion lease for 15 years, that's $466 million a year that they're suddenly getting. That didn't exist before. The company was worth less than $2 billion. So it makes sense for the stock to go up. It makes sense. Now, if it's going to go up another 100%, 150% or so, it might not make sense anymore unless there are more deals that are being announced. But for Nebius, I still think that CoreWeave is way more overextended than a Nebius, because I think Nebius is still flying under the radar because it was not an IPO, a normal IPO like CoreWeave. CoreWeave was that big IPO that happened in 2025. The fact that we don't really have that many IPOs to start with means that this one is getting even more attention. I think I've seen that the Circle one is 25x oversubscribed, so I guess that one will also pop. I still don't know why this thing gets so much hype, but again, not a lot of IPOs, so I guess you have to hype up whatever. But yeah, with Nebius, you get that optionality of the other businesses that could help justify the valuation in case they raise money for the other businesses. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy with my position. I would love for it to be bigger, but I'm not going to start chasing it just for the sake of chasing, because I still think we will have some opportunities. I mean, a couple of days ago, I missed it. They raised. Well, they announced that they're going to raise money. It's dilution. It's not debt. So the stock went down 7%, but recovered quite quickly. Unfortunately, I did not pay attention to the stock market during that day. Sometimes you have to touch grass, but
What's
I.
that?
What is that green thing? Green candles. But yeah, I think I'll still have time to
Uh,
acquire more.
yeah. We got some. So just wanted to look at some comments really quick. Commander here at work and just tuned in to salute you two gentlemen. Appreciate Commander. And good play awards there with your name and salute. I appreciate that as well for early morning. Non-intended puns. Neil, there were also someone mentioned there were some kind of news that hit CNBC just a few minutes, maybe like 10 minutes ago. But right now, it seems that there are reports Trump and the president of China did
She?
have a conference call. We don't know what it was about, but it's just that they held a call, and that's all we know. Let's see. I think there might have been actually a truth
According
post,
to the
but I can't
Chinese
follow it.
media, Trump. Let's maybe pull it up. Ding. So Trump holds call with Xi, Chinese media says. President Trump held a phone call with Chinese president. The call was initiated by Trump, Beijing's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said. And so we are up even more today.
It's so fun. I mean, it's so crazy how, right? It's like, nah, he called first. Nah, he called first. Nah, he
Yeah,
called
they
first.
have to write it. They have to write it. It's
Yeah,
a
nah.
it's an ego trip.
It should be like, we both called each other at the same time.
And then you
We
didn't
both
answer.
texted. We both texted at the same time. Here's the screenshot. Yo, you up? Um. So yeah.
You have a super chat here. There's another Pokemon pack you can buy now.
Woo! I'm so rich. Oh, here we go. Concern. Let's see. Let me read it real quick. And first, I love, appreciate it. Hopefully I'm not butchering the name like I butcher every name. Concerned that SMH may lag behind Nvidia as government clearly chooses Nvidia as the favorite. Thinking of turning my SMH position into a half into Nvidia and the other half into the S&P 500. Any thoughts, opinions on that move? So, right. I mean, what is Neil? Any way you can pull up SMH's holdings really quick?
Yes, sir.
Is this the one that has like? I mean, with I think normally the I love is obviously when you go with an ETF, you're gonna underperform. Usually, one of the best performers in that market. So obviously, if Nvidia outperforms because it's only 20% of its holdings, is gonna theoretically underperform. And here with an ETF, right now, you're doing a little bit of both. You're eliminating your risk by going into one individual company, but you are increasing your exposure in a sector that you believe can do very bullish. So that's my overall thesis for SMH. It's like, hey, look, I don't want to continue to buy an individual company. I might have already enough individual holdings of Nvidia. I might have enough individual holdings of AMD, but I still am bullish that the semiconductor industry in the long term of things will outperform the market. So why would I invest in the S&P 500 if I believe in the next 10 years the semiconductor industry will still outperform? And that's how I see it. The LF. I see SMH as more of a, would I rather put this ETF on semiconductor ETF, on overall market index, on a tech ETF, not compare it to an individual semiconductor stock, because with any individual stock that has the optionality to completely outperform an ETF. So when I look at SMH, I'm more comparing it against the indexes, and I think against the indexes, the SMH will outperform on them in the long term of things. Maybe in the short term of things, maybe the S&P 500 might do better this year and next year, but in the next 10 years, Neil, I think SMH will completely obliterate it. So in my overall portfolio, Neil, I don't own any. I used to own S&P 500s. That was one of my, like, I've talked about it in the past, that usually when stocks get a little too pricey, I tend to diversify more into indexes and ETFs. But when stocks go down, I tend to sell those out first and put it into high growth. So I sold out actually all of my S&P 500 and all of my like other indexes. And some of that money actually ended up going into semiconductor ETFs instead. A lot of that money went into individual holdings, but some made its way into SMH and SMHX as well. So I love. Hopefully, I provided some thoughts. Again, those are just my thoughts and not actual advice. But look at SMH more as a competitor to, would I put this in SMH or the S&P 500? Not would I put this money on Nvidia and or SMH. Any thoughts there, Neil?
I mean, to me, with ETFs, it's always the same. It's, you buy it if you just don't want to follow individual stocks. You buy it because you want that basket of companies in that specific industry, whether it's semiconductors or maybe it's the Max 7 or whatever, and you don't want to follow each and every company. It's very simple. If you want to follow each and every company, then why not go for the top dog? Because then you are going to outperform that ETF, right? If you hold Nvidia versus someone that holds SMH, SMH will do well, but you with your Nvidia will do much better. Unless something drastically changes and everything goes down, but then SMH will go down as well. So yeah, to me, an ETF is purely, you want to get exposure to the sector without having to add all of those names specifically in your portfolio.
Agree, Neil. We got about 1 minute before the morning open, so just letting you know,
what does
just in
that
case
mean,
you don't
the
have the
morning
alarm.
opens?
The opening.
The morning opens.
Neil, I'm getting tired of you. All right, Neil, making fun of me.
What is it? Too early for you?
Yes, it's extremely too early for me. My little one decided to wake up at 5:30. So
this is indeed unhuman hours.
Let's see. So maybe we can answer one question before the market opens, not the morning opens. The market opens. Let's see. Is ASML really a monopoly? P.S. Much love to both you guys. More love to Jose. He didn't say that, but I know he did. The grind doesn't go unnoticed. ASML, yes, 100% really a monopoly in extreme ultraviolet EUVs for sure. There's no doubt about it. In DUVs, you can maybe make some kind of argument against it, but I would still say almost a monopoly in DUV as well. So you hear rumors and discussions of maybe China creating something, but if you look at the backlogs, ASML is still selling a lot in China, right? So it's, if there's a competition, where is it in DUV products? So I want to say still a monopoly there.
This one has also risen around 30% since the April lows. Not bad. I mean, congrats to those that did buy it under 600. That's not
that was
bad.
All their share buyback bought that during that time.
Probably. It's been the same price since October 2024. But then again, I guess it makes sense. I guess it makes sense. And with that, let's open the morning.
Let's open the morning.
Let's open the morning.
Neil, I'm getting tired of you.
Let's open the morning. Maybe this could be the name of the show.
Let's open the morning. Hilarious.
Well, if this thing wants to refresh.
Come on, Neil. Amateur hour over there. Let's see TradingView really quick.
Voila.
I need my stocks.
No, I think we're good now.
I'm already on my screen, so I don't care about yours.
It's not yours, it's ours.
All right, that's true.
So what do we have? We have Google Alphabet actually up 1.3%, Meta up 0.5%, Tesla down
Micron up 4%.
Well, let's go Micron.
Uh,
Amazon up 1.1. Oh yeah, did you see that report that Microsoft, that Amazon wants to deploy humanoid robots?
in their facilities or just in general?
Here, Amazon is developing software for humanoid robots that could eventually take the jobs of delivery workers. I think I've seen a post that said, again, it's posts, so maybe some people bullshit there, that they want to put them in the Rivian, inside the Rivian vans. But I found it strange because they're also trying out drone deliveries, and I would assume that the drone deliveries would cost them less if there are small packages. But I mean, having humanoid robots go out of autonomous Rivian vans in the future could be pretty cool. But yeah, Amazon is great. You own Amazon, or you own it because of the
No,
ETF?
between the ETF. That's one that, but it would have been my one of those that I wouldn't mind have adding single, But no, yeah, I don't own it individually.
Okay, no, because Amazon is one of those where robotics has been a thing for that company for a while, for a long time. Like they use those robots, small robots, inside their facilities. And I don't know, for some reason, the market just does not respect Amazon. It has been actually underperforming the market for many years now. Yet the company is much better today than it was 5 years ago. But that's just how the market works, I guess. So, what
You,
else
you,
do
you,
we?
I don't know why, Neil. When you mentioned robots and Rivians and kind of deliveries, the first thing I thought about was Star Wars. I don't know if you're a Star Wars guy, Neil. If you're not, we're ending this stream right now. But the droid transports, where it's like I feel like they're gonna have like all these droids come out of the front of the Rivian and then just start delivering all the packages out there. That'd be pretty interesting, but I don't know how safe I would feel.
Exactly, interesting and maybe scary as well. And imagine if one of them suddenly starts like freaking out and like unlimited power.
Bezos there with his head on.
uh, what?
Let's see. All right. What's
Uh,
going on, Neil? Anything really red right now?
yeah, Tesla.
Tesla, Tesla, Tesla.
Tesla is back at $318, down
You
4.18%, which I'm not surprised. I'll be very frank here. I am not surprised. Because the stock did go up quite a lot in anticipation of that June event, right? The launch of robotaxis in Austin. Plus, for some reason, I don't know why, but everybody's forgetting that they're supposed to launch more affordable vehicles as well in the first half of the year, which we are in the first half still. They have a couple of days left to reach that deadline.
you you have hope, Neil? Oh my God! Good thing I
Hope,
wasn't drinking anything.
a new hope.
Yeah.
um, my expectations are very low, so don't don't expect anything and you will never be disappointed. So so that's a way to go, especially with Tesla.
Says we gotta see some Broadcom. Is Broadcom really moving?
Nice
Sometimes
flat.
it's flat. Ah. Um. I think this is also gonna eventually do a thing, Neil, where money from Coreweave is gonna start flowing into Nebius, and you might start to see this a little bit more than not.
Yeah,
Not
Nebius
again.
is up 11% today.
Woo! Join the making money club, Neil.
You're losing because Coreweave is down 5%. I will forgive your ignorance. That's not you're not ignorant. What's Jose's thought on Tesla? Tum tum tum.
Dun dun dun. You know what, Neil? I mean, I own a Tesla. I own Tesla too. Let me just say, I trial for if you're not familiar. Let me just give you a quick amazing history of Jose Najarro. I come from an engineering background, so I really do enjoy a lot of the tech that Tesla is creating from FSD, from their AI robotics. So I do believe a lot of what they're doing is insane. Obviously, there's other ways around it. So I am bullish on the technology, not only from a consumer standpoint, but just from an engineering standpoint as well. In the stock, I own it. I'm not buying at these levels. I think short term, Neo, the stock really is dependent only in the car business, even though it's no longer just a car company. The overall business at the moment is truly dependent on the on cars, and cars right now suck all over the place. I mean, I see it in all my semiconductor stocks that the automotive revenue is down. So if automotive revenues are down for semiconductor stocks, I expect it to be down in the overall industry. So I don't know. I'm happy with my position. It's not a stock I'm adding into. Not a stock I'm thinking about selling either. But I technology super bullish behind it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I mean, it's true that fundamentally right now the car business is still the one that generates the revenue for the
Mm-hmm.
company, right? And that's one that has been coming down. Of course, the energy side of the business is becoming a bigger chunk of the overall
Mm-hmm.
revenue time and time again, but nobody, or at least I don't know anyone that invests in Tesla today just because they're selling cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have Tesla because you think it's a great big player in AI, in robotics, and in the autonomous future. That's why you're paying
Yeah.
that price. And of course,
I
here,
Sorry, Neil. I was gonna say I feel like the only ones that really compare Tesla to other car valuations are like the bears. Like you mentioned, I don't think most bulls are buying this company for a car company.
yeah, no, exactly. I mean, and you can say, yeah, but they don't have anything. They're behind. I'm like, they have what a Volkswagen or whatever does not have, right?
Mm-hmm.
A Volkswagen does not have full self driving. And if you've
Mm-hmm.
never been in a car that has full self driving, then you don't know what it is. Like, you don't know that the car can drive itself. Volkswagen does not have uh, a huge data set, like a huge GPU cluster, the size of I don't know what, that Tesla has. It doesn't have humanoid robots. So it doesn't have all of those things that a Tesla has. So that's why Tesla does get that high multiple. Now, of course, eventually it will have to show that it
Mm-hmm.
deserves that high multiple, right? It deserves to be valued as a tech company and not a car making company. So far, of course, it has failed to do so, especially in the most, let's call it 12 months or so, margins declining, deliveries declining, etc., etc. But that's why 2025, especially now, the next couple of weeks and back half of this year, is going to be huge for the company because they have to deliver. They've been
Mm-hmm.
promising the launch of that robotaxi demo in Austin. Humanoid robot, I assume we're going to see more of those towards the back half of this year. We also have the Tesla Semi that, okay, it has been delayed time and time again. That's also something that you have to know with Tesla. Plenty of delays. They're never on time with anything, which maybe I normalize it. It's not normal, but as someone that has been following Tesla for 6 years, it's already priced in when I buy a certain amount of shares. And like you said, I'm not buying any shares today because I have enough, I'm exposed enough, and I'm not willing to pay the price today because there are plenty of other companies that provide better um, entry points, especially today, or entry points or risk reward wise. A Google Alphabet, we keep talking about that same name, but as I said at the start, even a PayPal today presents a better risk reward. And I said, did he just say that PayPal is better than Tesla? No, just saying stock wise
I
and
heard it.
price
I heard
wise.
it. I heard it.
Clip it, clip,
Clip it right now.
clip it. Um, but yeah, that's about it. It's the same with Palantir, right? I love
Mm-hmm.
it, I like it, but I'm not going to buy it at $300 billion in market cap at the moment. Like, I've talked with someone yesterday who's very bullish on Palantir as well, and like, yeah, fair value is
Mm-hmm.
50% ago. So you have to drop 50% in order to reach fair value. That doesn't mean that it is undervalued or very cheap. No, it's just fair valued, and that's after a 50% haircut. Of course, it can change. Fair value changes if we continue to accelerate growth, etc., etc. But yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
even the companies that you like, you're not going to buy it because there are other opportunities out there at the moment
Mm. Yep.
at better prices.
He also trial also owns PayPal. Are you sure this is not just you typing, going on your another computer and just typing questions right here?
I'm telling
But
you,
yeah,
my minions.
your minions. I was just saying. I mean, and that's the. I think this is what I enjoy the tech market so much. Is obviously people bring up points that maybe this is not the best way to go around kind of this type of technology, but it's like this is what the market is, right? I mean, you either bet on it or you bet against it, or you just don't bet at all. Um, but yeah, tech market is cool. It's always evolving, and it gets me excited
Yeah,
to
no,
keep investing.
I agree, and I mean, and sometimes stocks go up and it doesn't make sense, just like stocks go down and it doesn't make sense, but eventually the stock will correct itself. Like with Tesla, it's correcting itself maybe a little bit right now. Um, maybe it will happen with other stocks. Maybe AMD finally we're seeing some, although as I say it, I see that AMD is red today.
Gosh darn it, Neil.
Where is Lisa in chat? Maybe let me talk to the manager.
I did not call you a bot. I was joking. I was joking. I was joking. I was messing more with Neo because he's always mean to me, as you guys see in these streams. Neo is very mean to me. He's always making fun of me. So I had to do something, and that was the best I got. So now he's gonna make fun of me for doing that.
How do I remove someone here?
Let's
What is
see. What else do we have?
CBTG? What's that?
I try to look at it. Wait, CD or CB? Is that why I got it wrong?
CDTG.
It was some environmental stock I saw.
Yeah.
Nothing.
What the heck is this?
7.7 million. Neo has more money than this market cap
In Pokemon cards.
in Pokemon cards.
It looks like a dump, pump, dump. Maybe now we should be pumping. So
Yeah.
I don't know what this
I
is.
mean,
But
with stocks like this, right? I mean, just in general, we usually don't talk about small market caps just because
nano, yeah, nano cap. What's
nano,
this?
right? Not even like I said, some people's wealth are probably larger than this company's market cap. It's volume is probably so low. Any small big purchase can move this stock probably dramatically. But then who are you selling to? The other nobodies that don't know much about it. Something like this is if you are like a Shark Tank investor, you're gonna buy now at 7.7 million, expecting like 5-10 years they have something completely revolutionary that you can this is like pretty much kind of like angel investing in my opinion, where it's like a complete startup with very
Yeah,
low liquidity.
just less than $1, like literally a penny stock.
Yeah.
Nebius is up 16% right now.
What is Applied doing? Is Applied still running?
Let's see.
Trial. It's actually under 10 million. It's 7
2.3.
million. It's up 2.3.
Yeah.
Oh.
2.3.
I was
And
expecting more.
the
Are you sure, Neil?
Coreweave.
You sure you're right?
Yes, I'm right. Coreweave is down 9%.
Bom,
Loser.
bom, bom. No.
What was the other one? Navitas.
I'm like, I thought you were trying to say Nvidia. I'm like, what the heck is wrong with you?
Down 3.6. Well, the timing of my video today could not have been better.
You did an Avitas video?
No, I did a video about all four: Coreweave, Navitas, Applied Digital, and Nebius.
All in one? What monster are you? Let me check out your channel real quick.
All in one, yeah. The four Nvidia backed stocks. So everybody that's watching here after we're done here, you can go watch that.
Released 9 minutes ago, Neil. How did you do that? How did you do that? You were recording and
It's called a scheduled post.
what? Well, I didn't even know there was. It's so small. I learned something new. I learned something
Yeah,
new.
but
So
you know,
nano.
these categorizations don't make any sense. They don't make any sense to me. Like small caps and medium cap, like there is such a big gap. Like a small cap is way too small, way
Mhm.
too small in my opinion. But yeah, I
Sorry,
do
babysitter is texting. Just want to make sure everything was okay.
I do think that because Nebius did raise a couple of days ago, and I think the notes were priced at $50 or something like that. If I'm not mistaken, maybe I am. So let me just make sure.
What are we talking about right now?
Nebius,
Oh,
like why
nice.
the stock is up so much. Okay, maybe it's also because of the AV ride and I guess the benchmarks, the benchmark numbers plus the analyst upgrade as well. But I can't remember exactly what's the reason. Let's see.
Well, what you're
What's the
doing,
not what's
Daniel?
the
Oh, go ahead.
price?
Did you
No,
get it yet?
no. Okay, so two
Uh,
tranches, $500 million, 2% notes due 2029, $500 million, 3% notes due 2031. Initial conversion price $51.45. So, and back then, when this was announced, the stock was under $40. So, quite quite a deal.
let's see. We got a few minutes here, Neil. Let's see if we can take some questions. Opinion on Vertiv Holding, VRT. Um, interesting. I definitely a benefactor, a benefitter. It benefits. I don't know what the right word is. It benefits from the AI space evolution. You kind of see them working really well with a lot of partners with Nvidia and a lot of these other AI companies. I can see the excitement behind it, right? I mean, the only thing I would say is, in my opinion, I personally wouldn't add this because I don't see it giving me, my portfolio is already very AI weighted, Neil, right? Yeah, I have the semiconductors, I have your Coreweave, I have software plays in the AI space. If I buy, sometimes I hear with Vertiv, it's like, look, you're building on a whole different market, you're getting different types of exposures. But if we look at like the deep seek drama, it gives you, it's completely exposed to the AI space. If the AI space slows down, this stock is going to take a hit. So it's all about exposures. If one doesn't have exposure to the AI space and wants to go through it via an infrastructure style, I think Vertiv is actually pretty good. I think forward PE ratios, let me take a quick look, Neil. I don't know if you might be able to pull it up faster. But for Vertiv, let's see. For Vertiv, PE ratio forward, which is the end of this fiscal year, is 31. I personally think that's expensive, Neil, especially if I can buy an Nvidia at a similar level forward PE ratio, right? So I'm looking at my valuation approach. Which one is better? I'm not saying Vertiv is a bad investment, but for my style of investments, I would prefer going with a Nvidia instead if they share similar valuations. If it was a lot cheaper, maybe I would feel a little bit different. The other final thing is, this is a stock that it takes time to build data centers. So you're never going to see those triple digit growth that you see in semiconductor companies and in other tech stocks. This data center takes time, and that's why you typically see about 15%, 20% year over year revenue growth, which is really good, right? That's still really strong. I'm not going to say that's weak, but you have to understand that you're coming with those expectations. Luckily, though, you are seeing kind of those backlogs coming in and increasing dramatically. So I see the opportunity. I think I could see why certain people might want it in their portfolio, but in my portfolio, it doesn't fit my needs because I'm already very AI exposed. And for its valuation, I'd rather put that money in a semiconductor stock that I believe can grow a little bit faster. But yeah, you can see in that chart right there, Neil, that you have how it took a massive dip in both kind of like the trade wars and the DeepSeek moment. And I agree. I mean, like I would prefer buying like a Google over Vertiv. Um, but again, I'm not
I
saying
prefer
anything
to buy
bearish.
Google over a lot of companies these days. I think it's safe to say that um, Alphabet at these prices, I'd probably say if you give me 90% of the companies, I'd still take Alphabet at 170 today, for sure, for sure.
For sure, for sure, for sure. Yeah, you're getting a little too comfortable here. I don't like it.
That's fine. I'm not that comfortable. Been sitting for way too long.
um,
But anyways, I think that's all for us today. We
yeah,
shall be back. I'll be back next week. Next week. Um, huh. You know, I tried something interesting
I
today.
saw that. I saw that, and I'm looking at it right now, Neil.
I'm like, wait a second.
Can we do
So
accent here?
yeah, okay, this is something we will talk in a second. So
People like to
this
hear
is a
business
chat
stuff.
from Kick. I started to stream on Kick today with this stream just to see what the heck is going on.
Yeah.
Um, and then we got this chat right here. So even if this is a bot or not, at least someone on Kick has watched our stream. But yeah,
Yeah, was the matching shits planned? I don't know. um, 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 no, I don't think so. But Neo, I guess we gotta start doing it.
yeah. But first we
It's
have to match the background. I sent you my background,
yeah.
but you didn't want to.
I didn't want to. It wasn't looking good where I was. I didn't have like my full lighting. Maybe I'll try. I'll try next time.
Join the couch. Join the
Jen?
couch.
Yeah.
Matching
Um.
shirts. But yeah,
Well,
with that said, um,
yeah. With
we
that
are
said, I
done.
will. Yeah. Yeah.
We
Great
are
stream. Neil, you gotta end it. You can't just give us hanging. All right, guys. Appreciate the support. I don't think we'll be on tomorrow. Unfortunately, I do not have a babysitter tomorrow, so I can't stream tomorrow. Um, but next week we're on it again.
next week. We shall be back. You are probably going to
With matching
discuss
shit.
matching everything, matching sheets, matching portfolios, whatever you want. So thank you all for joining. We shall be back. Could be a little bit
Neil, one day
earlier.
you should show up with
Yeah.
glasses. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Okay, go ahead. Whoa, which one's who? All right, we gotta go. We gotta go. People
Clark
are
Kent.